You are tired of average. You want more out of life. You know you're capable of something greater. This show will help you become resilient in your home, at work, and in your community. Welcome to the Resilient Humans Podcast with your host, Kevin Wood. Welcome back to the Resilient Humans Podcast. And today's guest is somebody who doesn't just talk about resilience, he's lived it in some of the most intense environments imaginable. Jesse Bond is the president of Southwest Fire Academy and working in both career and volunteer fire departments. Over the years, he's trained firefighters locally and internationally and has built a reputation for aggressive, high-level firefighting and leadership. In 2018, Jesse was awarded both the Medal of Valor and the Medal for Firefighter Bravery after risking his life to rescue a mother and a child from a house fire. But beyond the titles and the accolades, Jesse's story is about something a little deeper: learning through adversity, navigating burnout, and committing to a life of energy, growth, and doing hard things on purpose. He lives by a simple but powerful idea: get younger as you age. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Right on. So we obviously want to get into the firefighting component of this. One of my most recent episodes was lessons from fire school. So this is coming off the heels of that episode. So we'll obviously get into that, but we want to find out more about Jesse the man, not just Jesse the firefighter. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get going.
Yeah, I mean, you covered a good chunk of it, what I do, and born and bred firefighter. Been into the job and wanting to do that ever since I was 2 years old, apparently. And I like living life and I like having fun. My philosophy is if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. So I'm very fortunate to have a business and a job that I absolutely love. And so it's always fun going to work and going into the school. And then outside of that, I like being in the wilderness. I like camping and hiking and just being outside primarily. Cool. Yeah.
And you're a new father, I see.
I'm a new father. I have a 6-month-old at home now. So what's more fun than having a little baby?
Yeah, why not, right? Let's just throw things on top of it. So obviously becoming a father changes a lot of things. How's that shifted your perspective about risk? That's a big one. Resilience, or even how you approach your job day to day.
Yeah, it's funny. You hear so many new fathers and mothers talking about this all the time, and I didn't really notice any difference at the beginning. But now, as he's starting to, get a personality and he's figuring things out and watching that, I'm starting to notice a bit of a mentality shift just at work. And it's not so much how I do things, that hasn't changed yet anyway. But even, just going to certain calls, if you have a fatal call or something, it definitely makes me think of home a lot more. It makes me think of my wife and my boy, and, just it makes things a little bit more real, makes death a little bit more real. So it's, it's something to, pay attention to, because you want to live as many years with your family as you can.
For sure. And during school, when I was there, we talked kind of between classes and sessions and stuff. And you talked a lot about, for a lack of a better term, biohacking, like just ways of optimizing your life. And, you've dialed in your nutrition. You don't drink alcohol anymore, things like that. Has becoming a father made you more aware of that? Like your stress levels, your habits, your recovery?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was pretty dialed in before he got here, but it's just one more reason to do it. And yeah, I'm big into the biohacking, like you said, and the nutrition, and the most dialed in I've ever been in my entire life. And one of the biggest reasons that you want to have that high quality life is so that you can have many more years of the high quality life. And I'm not just thinking about time with my own children. I'm thinking past that to time with my grandkids and my great grandkids, and wanting to be able to do all of those types of physical activities with them. So, it's just there's so many wins, right? Quitting alcohol is obviously a tough thing. I loved drinking, it was fun, but you have to kind of outweigh the positives versus the negatives. And it just makes such a difference when you feel good all of the time. And especially for me, as you mentioned, like I'm pretty busy. So, with a full-time job in the volunteer fire department and the business and teaching, and then on top of that, wanting to still have my outlets like camping and stuff, I'm gone a lot. So when I'm at home, I need to be as present as possible for my family. And when you have that energy, then it really offsets the time that I'm gone on shift and things like that, so that I can help my wife and spend good quality time with my son and playing with them and things like that. So
Was there a catalyst for change for you for these changes in your life?
there wasn't really. I mean, I've always been health conscious. My mom kind of raised me that way. Obviously, what we know now about the human body, even within the last year, like it just keeps growing. We just have so much better of an understanding within the last like 5 years, I think. So it gets stronger and stronger, as you said. My little quote: "Get younger as you age." Every year, I feel like you need to just dial it in a little bit more to offset the extra year that you just went through. So um, having a son definitely changes it and makes me want to have that a little bit more. And I have gone through the burnout and I've had those hard times of adversity. And when you put good things into your body and you exercise regularly and you make sleep a priority, those tough times and when you face the adversity, you don't even necessarily realize that things are tough because your
Mm,
body's in such a good balance, your brain chemistry is proper. And it's easy, it's hard. You can go down the negative path or you can go down the positive path. When things get tough, you can turn to bad food and you don't have time to exercise and it just makes everything way worse. Where if you can keep on top of that, it makes you just be able to thrive through life in such an easier way.
so all that to say, you're just a giant nerd and you like nerding out on these things.
Oh, I love it so much. I record everything and
Yeah, yeah,
track everything. And my
right
wife is
on.
making fun of me all the time. She's like, "You have a mental health issue. You're obsessed with your whoop stats." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh, hey, I'm trying to figure out what works."
that's funny. So you mentioned a few things. What are some other those non-negotiables when it comes to maintaining your energy and your performance?
Non-negotiables and what, like
Like
what?
day to day, like you mentioned, no alcohol. Like that's been true for me. It's been over 6 years now. Like
Oh, wow.
it's just a non-negotiable. It's just if somebody
Yeah.
offers it to me, it's like no thanks. I've built that into my identity as I'm a non-drinker. So for me, that's just a non-negotiable.
Yeah, so I've definitely had some more that I've eased up on a little bit. I think finding a really healthy balance might be the better alternative. There was quite a while where I was like, nope, no sugar. That's a non-negotiable. It's
Hmm.
poison. I'm not putting it into my body. But then I think, if you're strict for 3 weeks and Easter just passed, and if I want to have a small piece of carrot cake after dinner, it's like, why not? Like your body will bounce right back. I don't think that matters. And yeah, so I mean, again pretty strict, like 95% of the time. And then as long as what I do is if I have it in the calendar for something, then it's acceptable, right? If there's
Right.
an anniversary dinner or Christmas dinner, like things like that, because as humans we find any reason to justify bad actions, bad
Yeah.
habits. So they're basically non-negotiable, you know, Monday to Sunday, every day of the week, except for those special occasions. And I think having that nice little balance where you can hack, where you don't lose energy because of
Yep.
it. Again, weighing out the positives and the negatives. That's kind of how I go. So yeah, no alcohol. Yeah, just clean 95% of the time. I think is kind of the way. And then exercise, right? Obviously not letting that slide. So working out like at least 5 times a week is a kind of a non-negotiable now. And
Nice.
just you make time, you make the space to find the time to do it, right? That means, okay, no more TV. Great. Well, I'm not going to watch TV then because
Yep.
there's just not enough time in a day.
So it sounds like you create a lot of intention. There's intention behind the decisions that you make, and that's kind of the guiding light to what you do in your days.
Exactly. Intent is such a good word. I use that word all of the time. And I think people should find their intention for everything they do. When you go to work, have intention. Anytime you do a small project,
Mm,
have the intention. And our bodies should be really no different, right? So having that intention, and it's not just having the strict rules, but it's also paying attention and having that, self analysis and just analyzing all of the time. Okay, when I eat this, I feel this way, or does this to my heart rate, or whatever. And so just consciously focusing on it and thinking about it with that intention allows you to carry on and be successful. And the more you do it and the better habits you create and the longer you do it for, the easier it becomes, to the point where, this weekend it's like, okay, if I want to have a bun, I'll have a bun. I don't even want to have a bun. So it just becomes, you just lose those cravings, which is
yeah.
phenomenal. And it's all about intention.
So what does you mentioned it, getting younger as you age. What does that actually look like in practice for you?
So I just think every year when you have a birthday and your age goes up one more, you have to do something to counter that. And we hear it all the time with people. It's like, oh, when you hit 40, when you hit 50, when you hit 30, things
Yep.
start to get harder. It's like, okay, well, what are you doing about it so that it doesn't get harder? Because it doesn't have to, right? It's
Yep.
bred into us that it does, and it doesn't have to. So whether it's like, okay, this year, like I'm going hard on breathing techniques, and I heard you say that you're really good about doing it every morning. That's something I can improve on for sure. But it's okay. I'm done with alcohol now. Once I hit 35, no more alcohol. And then it's not as overwhelming, right? You don't have to tackle everything at once, but every year, theoretically, you should be getting healthier, which will just make you live longer and make you younger, right? How many people have you seen transform their bodies where they're 40, but they're an older 40? They're like 55. They started
Oh
coming
yeah.
to your gym, they started eating clean, and now they don't look 40, they look 35. And people always made fun of me when I said this, but I love now, like, my Hume scale and my Whoop, like they have your, metabolic age and
Yep.
your age based on your statistics. So it's something a little bit more tangible that you can actually see, like, oh, according to this, this comparatively to the rest of the world, right? Obviously you're not actually getting younger, but you kind of are.
You kind of are. Have you ever, so how old are you and what's your metabolic age according to your data there?
So I'm 36 and my ages on my devices are 27.
There you go. Good.
Yeah.
I had mine done, tested. There's a guy locally that does it. He hooks up. It's the whole VO2 max mask,
Yeah.
and you're on the treadmill. And it tells you how much carbs you're burning versus how much fat and all that stuff. And so I'm 45, and it put my metabolic age at 33.
Yeah, it's
I was
amazing, right?
like,
It's
let's go.
incredible.
Like, I'm getting younger as I age. So
Yeah,
it's,
and oh, sorry.
keep going.
Oh, yeah, just people say all the time, right? They always talk about aging and stuff, and I'm just like, I fucking embrace it. Bring on
Yep.
the age because I know you can do so much and having good mentors that are in the same, have the same train of thought of you. Like I have like three cousins that are either just over 50 or just under 50, and they're in incredible shape, and they do things at the gym that the 22-year-old good shape people can't do. And I know they have some mentors at the gym that are like 70 that can do these insane workouts. So we have living proof now that you can be, 80, 85, and you're still climbing up mountains. And
Yep.
that's having that vision. There's some discipline, and people often say, like, oh man, I wouldn't want to live like you because it's no fun. And it's just like, you're insane. Like, for a 10-minute meal that tastes delicious, won't taste delicious in 11 minutes. So, do you really want to focus your life on 30 minutes of eating or 23 hours of feeling great?
It's true. And I find too that a lot of people don't know how bad they feel until they start feeling better.
100%. And
I
you
hear it constant.
probably have dealt with this. I have, where you veer off and you go back to some of those bad habits, and then you feel that terrible, but then you just get used to it and it just becomes the new baseline. So I think the important thing is just not is being consistent and not letting that happen. And that's,
Yep.
it's easy to be really healthy for a week and then be really unhealthy for 3 weeks. And it's like, okay, you can't do that anymore. It's
It's tipping
because
the
of
scale in the
how
wrong
good you
direction.
feel. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like having energy is something most people in North America don't have. They don't experience that, and you just try and like, guys, just trust me. Just it
Yeah.
feels so good. You're missing out on living life to the fullest.
I find it not just energy, but clarity. That
Clarity.
brain fog is a real thing,
Oh
and
yeah,
people don't realize that they're in it.
yeah.
It's like they're living with blinders on, and they can't see past it because that's just been the way they've been living. And once they get past, like, let's say 3 months of healthy choices and healthy eating and moving, they're like, oh my God, I never knew I could feel like this. Well, that's
Yeah.
because you couldn't. You had those blinders on, and it was impossible for you to even imagine what it would feel like. And now that
And
they
everything,
do,
yeah.
it's hard to go back.
And everything is working against you. Everything is so addictive, like all the bad stuff.
Mm,
It's
yep.
easier, it's usually cheaper, it's more convenient, it's addictive, literally addictive. So you have everything from, since we were babies just working against you. Like, so it's tough to flip that.
Yeah. You mentioned, well, I mentioned in your little intro here that there were some early signs of burnout. Um, what, I guess, how did you notice that happening? And then what did you do about it?
It's been a while now. I talked about this on my podcast with Scott on multiple calls. I heard you mention him on your last podcast. Um, I think things just started getting really, really tough, and I didn't understand what was happening. Actually, I do remember what it was. It was COVID. I got COVID, and I was stuck at home, and or maybe I didn't get COVID. I was in Morocco and I think I came home and I had to quarantine for a few weeks. I wasn't allowed to go to work. I wasn't allowed to leave the house. I got out on like the last flight out of the country. So I came home and I just had all this time to just kind of sit at home. And so I think I was watching Breaking Bad. So usually I don't really, binge watch TV or whatever, but I'm stuck at home. I'm watching Breaking Bad. And I remember like feeling like I was the characters in the show. If my phone vibrated, if the door knocked, I would like almost have anxiety and it would go into like not a full-on panic attack, but I felt panic. I would like almost start to shake because I thought I was going to jail. I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on? Like you're just watching a show, man. And I think my nervous system was just so depleted from never having sleep, always having adversity, trying to, fix things and run things at the school, like just always somebody needing something or calling me in to fix something that I didn't necessarily know how to fix. And it was really bad. And I noticed it starting to affect me on shift, like just little things that would irritate me. And I'm not the kind of guy that gets too upset too often, and I just didn't understand what was going on. Or we'd have a string of VSAs, and that would really bother me, where usually it wouldn't. So I think it was just my nervous system completely being depleted. And I just had to take some time and step back from, I had a lot of good people in my life that were explaining things. One of my ex-business partner was he broke it down. He's like, you go to work, you have to be on. You're waiting for the tones to go off. But then
Mm,
you come home, you're also a volunteer firefighter. So subconsciously, it's just always, hey, the pager can go off. Like you never get that time to go to bed thinking, I'm going to get some rest now. It's always, is the pager going to go off tonight? And because of how busy I was
mm.
only sleeping couple hours a night, and yeah, it just completely drained me. So I had to change all of that. And now that I have a family and a wife and a son and still have all of those other things, putting the right things into your body, getting proper exercise, using the sauna and the cold plunge, going camping, like giving myself that once a month where I can get into the wilderness, it just it just straightens everything out and creates all those perfect balances that you need, so that even when you have a busy shift, you're up all night, you can still come home and you don't need to go to bed. Like you've got energy reserved in the bank where you can still put that time in with the family. Sorry, I'm a little
Yeah, no, no,
incoherent of an answer, but
no, it's good. Yeah, yeah. Because a lot of people are feeling that the weight of the world,
mhm.
and it's heavy. And
Especially now, right? It
yeah,
is heavy. It's tough. There's so much bad, negative things happening all of the time.
yep. We talk about. I just released a podcast this morning, actually,
Oh, nice.
about that. Like we're set up for notifications and all the news things that pop up. They're meant to trigger us in certain ways that drive our emotions. And if you react to those instantaneously, you're going to live on edge.
Yeah,
You have no time to breathe. You have no time to chill out or relax because you're always like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing?
right.
It's this rage culture. And I feel a
Yes.
lot of people are getting sucked into it. Dude, that is the highway to burnout. Like you're
Yeah.
going to fry your nervous system if you're always sucked in or tuned in to all of that garbage. So
The dopamine rush,
it's crazy.
it's fear mongering on steroids.
Yeah,
They have it in
big time.
every avenue, and we were
Hmm.
lucky. We didn't necessarily grow up with that, with social media and cell phones. Now think of the people. I know 6-year-olds that have cell phones. It's like, holy, this kid, like, just information overload, and it's
Yep.
just not. We're not meant for it.
No, our bodies were not designed for that. Our brains were not designed for that. So
Yeah.
I can see, yeah, your message is valuable. I mean, it's the message that I've been talking about for 20 years now, right?
Right. Well,
Eat real
just like you
food,
said.
train your body,
Yeah.
train your mind, do hard things on purpose, like build up that hard memory bank so that when shit hits the fan, you're like, no problem. I got this because I've done harder things before, right? Like
Right.
the
Oh,
simple
big
stuff.
time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And getting rid of social media. I still have social media, but I do try not to go on it. And I do catch myself once in a while. I'm like, whoa, whoa, what are you doing? Like, just don't worry about the politics. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it's just too tough. So, and you can't change anything. That's the big thing, right? We get so.
What are you going to do about it?
Exactly. So now you're still living the same life, but with those pressures that you mentioned, and it's
Mm,
not doing you or your family any good. So it's better to. I mean, don't get me wrong. You need to be a little bit aware of what's happening, but you also, you can't let it run your life.
it's true. I thought about this actually just recently on the weekend. We had some downtime, like it's kind of a long weekend. Gym was closed for a little bit longer. Um, Doing like a social media, not a purge or a flush, but just like a filter.
Mhm.
And the three filters that I want to go through, like if something comes up and it doesn't educate me or inspire me, get rid of it. Get rid
Yeah.
of it. If it's there to promote rage and clickbait and all that stuff, just stop following them. So
Yes.
educate, entertain, and inspire. I would say those are the top three. If
Yeah.
if
That's a.
if who I'm following can do one of those things for me or all three, wonderful. It's going to enhance my life, not detract from it.
Yeah, that's a great idea, and I will definitely incorporate that in. And have you ever heard of? I think it's called the brick. My cousin was telling me about it
Yes,
last
I've
night.
heard of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it sounds
yeah,
great. I guess it's on his fridge, and you can program it so if he's going to, let's say, a wedding, he's going to a wedding and doesn't want the option to open up his Instagram or his
hmm
Facebook or whatever, he goes and just taps his phone next to this brick, and it shuts off all apps that he chooses that he doesn't want
yep,
on there. It could be emails from work, whatever you want, I guess. So then when he's gone and he's out of the house, he has zero access to those. They won't come up on his phone until he gets home and
and
taps it,
taps it.
which I'm
Yep,
like, oh man, that's a genius idea. So even at home, like if you have the self will to be like, hey, today's day with the family, you go and tap it. It's just one more thing that can help you not accidentally open your phone and start
that's just
scrolling.
it. A lot of
It's
times
just
it's
habit now,
accidental.
right?
Yes. I was going on my phone to turn on my lights back here in this room. And then I was like, how am I on Facebook? What the hell?
Right?
How'd this happen?
Yeah. How does this happen?
Yeah.
And it's just a weird, like, people are out in public by themselves and don't people don't want to be uncomfortable, so they pull the phone out, and it's like It just didn't used to be that way. I backpack. I've done a lot of traveling, backpacked around the world for. I did a 6 month trip, was the longest one, and I didn't have a cell phone. And most people did because I did a Europe trip before that. Nobody had cell phones. The next time I went, I just thought that was a thing. When you're backpacking, you don't get a cell phone. Everybody had cell phones. So I was the only guy. I'd just be sitting at the bar, the beach, whatever, and I'm like looking around. Everybody's scrolling on their phones, texting, and I think people should consciously try to do that every once in a while. Just leave your house without your phone. Go to a
Yep.
public place where you don't know people and just have a conversation. Read a newspaper. Like, I don't read newspapers, but you know what I mean? Just something that we used to have in our culture that is almost completely gone now. But you make yourself uncomfortable by not having this
Yeah.
device that you can just zoom into.
Yep. Read the back of the shampoo bottle while you're taking a shit.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever. I actually employ I listen to nothing. I turn my radio off. There's no music. There's no nothing when I'm driving. That's
Yeah.
the only time where there's total silence, roughly,
Yeah.
is when I'm driving. If I'm going to work, everything's off. Because once I'm at the gym, it's loud. Everybody's
Right.
talking to me and it's constant noise. It's in my car, man. I get a sense of peace just sitting
Yeah.
there. And I've talked too about when I get home, I want there to be a transition from work to home. And
Mhm.
so I'll just sit in the driveway and I'm sure my neighbors think like, what the hell is he doing? But I'm just sitting in my car doing nothing for like a few minutes. It's
Just
not a long
unwinding.
time, but just creating a little transition point between two different spots of my life because I don't want to bring work into my house. I want it to be separate. So
And have you found that's helped with your
yeah.
relationship with your wife and your
Well,
kid?
I
Like,
don't
do you notice a
react.
difference?
Yeah. So
Okay.
now when I walk through the door and someone's screaming at me, my kid, I'm not reacting to it with the work stress or whatever I brought in. Now it's separate. And so I can
Right.
say, hold on a second, what's going on here?
Very
And
smart.
mostly respond to it in a better way. So yeah.
I like that. Maybe I'll have to give that a try.
More hacking, buddy.
Well, that's the other thing. There's so many rabbit holes, which is
Yeah.
great. There's so much good information, and you have to sift through it and filter what's good and what's bad and find the people that you trust to listen to. But
Hmm.
you get to a point where you almost plateau and this becomes the new addiction, which you're just looking for more things that you can do to improve your life. And it's like, all right, I'm pretty tapped into everything, but
Yeah.
one conversation and you're already getting more ideas.
So you mentioned earlier about the importance of mentors and having mentors in your life. How have they specifically shaped your path? And then follow up to that, um, what should somebody look for in a great mentor?
Yeah, I think it's just filtering the people that you hang out with, the people that you talk to, and you get to pick, you get to decide who they are, right? So if you're hanging out with people that want to party all the time, you're probably going to party all the time. If you hang out with people that are like-minded and they want to be outside and be healthy and be energized, then you're just gonna fuel each other. And the reason I mentioned my cousins and stuff is because they're living proof of that. This is what I want when I'm their age, right? I know lots of 50-year-olds and a lot of them struggle. Like, I know a lot of firefighters and it is tougher for them to come to work and do some of the harder tasks. But it doesn't necessarily have to be. And I get too that there's other factors in life that can, injuries from the past and different things that can definitely make things more challenging. I do feel like there's a lot more we can do to fix those issues. So spending time with like-minded people that you look up to, that inspire you, is just gonna help you get to your goal a little bit faster. And you're gonna get people that chirp you for it. You're like, oh, are you only doing this because they do this? It's like, yep. You know why? Because that person looks like a gladiator. So whatever they're doing is clearly working. They have energy all the time. Like why wouldn't I want to do the thing that they've already trialed and errored it and it works for them? So now I'm gonna give it a try. And you just bounce ideas off of each other, and it just, it becomes your community that is just so positive.
How do you approach being a mentor to other people?
I think I probably get annoying with this stuff, but I'm just so into it, and it's not because I'm trying to brag about having energy. It's just like you can do. Like I had a buddy at work not too long ago. He's like, "Man, I wish I had the energy you have," and I'm like, "You can." That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like you just start making some slow changes, and you can have this energy. So anyone who wants to talk about it, like I said, I record everything. Like I try and just have a very good understanding so I can pass that knowledge on. And if people don't want it, that's totally fine too. If you want to go home and watch movies and drink beer, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want in your life, then fantastic. You have to create your own recipe and find what it is you're looking for. So the people that want to live a little bit more quality and kind of get rid of some of that pain and inflammation and have more energy, I just it's not something I get bored of talking about. I'll say that. So
I
anybody who
find
wants,
there's
yeah, no,
there's
but
a balance, well, not a balance. There's a dichotomy, I guess, between the people that say they want to change. They have this outcome that they want, but then all their actions and behaviors don't line up with that, and it creates a little bit of frustration for me. It's kind of like people that, you know, they complain about the political system, but they choose not to vote.
right, yeah,
Do you really have anything to say then? Like, so, I've had people, they come up to me and they complain about the shape that they're in or whatever. But then on the other side, they're not willing to do anything different to make any change in their lives. And that's the one thing that drives me bonkers. And I don't know that
yeah.
it should, but
No, I hear you. And my cousin Greg, he says this to people. He's 50. He's absolutely shredded, just like this jacked guy. He's super high energy, healthy, climbing up mountains all the time. Like just a great guy. But people that approach him and ask him for advice, his new thing is he's like, "You think you can live without cream and sugar in your coffee?" And he says, "This is what I want you to do. You come back to me in 3 weeks where you've drank 0 calories. And if you can't do that, then I'm not even gonna have a conversation with you.
a
If you can't get
filter.
rid of cream and sugar in your coffee and you can't get rid of drinking orange juice for breakfast, then there's no point in even having the discussion." So I think he's come up with a pretty smart
Mm,
filtering system, and the people that come back like, "Hey, I drank black coffee every day for the last 3 weeks," and all right, great, let's take it up one more level. And I think it's a very smart approach
yeah,
because you do have to move slowly. Like if you're starting out where you're living on standard American diet and living your typical North American lifestyle, it's hard to make all of these changes. And I just think before you even try and subtract things, you should probably add things, add healthy things so that
yeah,
organically you stop the bad things and you're not even doing it on purpose. Your body is just starts to slowly get what it needs. So you don't have the cravings, you don't reach for the bag of chips, and you don't even necessarily recognize it's not even a conscious effort that you're putting in. So I think that's really, really important and a good approach. It's like, hey, just start with this one small thing, and
totally
then
agree.
add one more thing. And the other part of it too is like again with analyzing how you feel, and if you just add a whole bunch of supplements and take all these things away, you might feel phenomenal, but there might be something in there that actually isn't good. It's just being masked by all the other good things. So if you slowly introduce all of these, you're gonna have a better perspective on the impact that it's having on your body, in your mind, and allow you to really let you know what's working and what maybe doesn't work.
It's true. You're speaking my language. We call it the addition diet. So it's add
Yeah,
things and then it changes to substitution. So
right,
it's an
exactly.
equal balance.
Yep.
And then and only then do you start removing things, but you've built some habits leading up to that before you start taking anything away. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
100%. It works very well.
Yeah,
We'll shift here. I said at the
sure.
start, I'd love to be able to talk about some firefighting stuff. And so, as president of Southwest Fire Academy, what's your mission for the next generation of firefighters?
We actually brought a new employee on today, and was kind of explaining some of these things to him. The mission ultimately is to give the best level of service to the members of the community that the students are going to where they're going to get hired on, essentially. So, we have the staff, we have our instructors, but it's not about us. It's not even necessarily about the students. It's the people that they're going to be protecting. So it's just one level down, one level down. So
Mm.
obviously it's about our students. We want to give the best experience to as possible, but it's about trying to shift the mentality of the fire service to produce smart, aggressive firefighters. We don't want people showing up on a house where they can very easily push into and do a proper search, and that's what our job is. And we're seeing that slip a lot in the fire service. We're seeing a lot of people who are getting into the job who aren't necessarily meant for this kind of work. And a lot of these people are becoming chiefs, and they're becoming the people who make bylaws and rules in the standards that dictate us not doing what we're supposed to be doing for the public. So yeah, change just yeah, having a good mentality about what this job is, what the reason for doing the job is, and how to maintain that. So we can only do so much with our class. We can't necessarily make a great firefighter in such a short period of time. It takes years and years to make a great firefighter, but we can shift mentalities so that they go back, they get hired on, and they train hard and they become as proficient in their skills as possible. So when the tones go off, they can deliver the best service they possibly can.
I've listened to quite a few of the multiple calls podcasts, and one of them, I don't remember which number it was, but they were talking about, like you said, the shift of the hiring process and how, it's a blue collar job, but they tend to, the hiring process favors the white collared folk. And
Mm-hmm.
it's at a detriment. Like, you don't want every single person that you hire to be, for their goal to be a fire chief. That's not going to produce the best crew that you
Right.
want working for you if everybody's a fire chief. How how are you, as a school or as the president or even an instructor, helping with that problem that exists today?
It's tough. I think I think taking a step back and recognizing that changes aren't going to happen overnight, but really they're going to happen over years and years is the
Mm.
best way to approach it. And now that, I've been a part of SFA for the last decade and a bit, you time flies so fast. So just recognizing that, like, yeah, it's just a student here today that we're trying to shift the mentality. Is that enough for the job? Well, 5 years goes by fast, and now someone like yourself who's already in the fire service, or someone who gets hired on in a year, well, 3, 4, 5 years, they're already starting to bring up those good points. And I think it really does start from the bottom and works its way up. Having said that, we also are in contact with lots of chiefs, and just trying
Mm.
to share the message and what we're trying to do. We're not the only ones trying to do it, which is nice. I think we're all starting to build some momentum with Scott's podcast. There's so many good podcasts out there yourself. Our school, different companies, the True North Fools, different organizations that are really pushing for this. And the thing that makes it easier is when you have a truth, it you can't deny that truth. So we just keep pushing the same message, and you can't deny it anymore. And you just have to get to the masses, because so many people hear the opposite, and that becomes the new truth. But when you actually line them up and you have a conversation and you can have that dialogue questioning those things that we disagree with, it starts to, you start to pull people onto the side that, hey, it's about the community, it's about them.
Mm. That's true. It's such a good point. Like, what, I can't remember which show. I think it was one of the one that your captain was on. when it talked about being the firefighter that you would want responding to your house. If your house is on fire, would you want you showing up?
Right. Yeah, Sean Price. Is that
Maybe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's an amazing captain. The guy is so intelligent and you learn so much from him. But absolutely, like we talk about that in boot camp all the time,
Mm,
right? It's you have to pretend that you're responding to your family members every call you go to.
yeah.
Every fire, every medical, like you have to give the same level of service you'd want to give to your family or you'd expect from a stranger firefighter to give to your family.
That's a hard
How
point
can
to
you
get
argue that?
across.
Right? How
Yeah.
can you argue that?
Yeah.
You can't.
It's an absolute truth.
Yeah. It's
There's nothing else that can
objectively
go.
like, hey, would you go into that house if your kid was in there? Well, yeah, if my kid, well, then get inside.
Yeah.
Go get
100%.
inside. If you go in for your kid, you're going in for the other possible kid that's in there.
Yep. So kind of a two-parter, how does your school do things differently? And then how do you set your students up for that type of mindset?
So I think the big thing with our school and what we do differently is it's run like a firehouse. And you talking about that, mentioned it on your podcast, where we try and simulate as realistically as possible what it's like to actually go on the job, doing truck checks, checking your pack in the morning, eating together, sleeping in a dorm together, getting up in the night for calls. So I think that gives a good perspective to people. Like, is this really the job for you? And I've had students come to me like, you know what? Like, this is what it's like, or I got to go in that small hole. I'm claustrophobic. I'm not into it. I got to leave. And they expect you to be disappointed. You're like, you know how much respect I have that you have the self
Mm-hmm.
awareness to recognize that this job isn't for you because it's not for a lot of people. So that's one of the areas. Another thing I do like to mention is, we're owned and operated by firefighters, and none of the other schools in this province anyway are. So what is it about for them? Is it about pumping out students? Maybe. For us, we may end up working with
Right.
these people that are graduating. We want them to be good. We want them getting into the truck prepared, not necessarily with all the knowledge they need to have, but at least the mentality and of the importance of doing things the right way and training and pushing yourself. And it's not just for the community, it's also for the firefighters. Like, you want to do well on this job. You want to be in shape so that you can go home at the end of the day, but also so you don't feel terrible, right? Like, people that get into this job, it's very easy to have that guilt when things go wrong. You get into a fire, even if there's nobody trapped, and you get humbled in that fire. It sucks, right? I've been humbled in lots of fires where I'm just completely gassed, completely exhausted. And that's another reason for wanting to maintain this level of nutrition and fitness, because when I go to a fire, I want to perform the best I can so that for all of the reasons, right? Safety for you, the crew, the community, it's fine to get humbled, but what are you going to do about it when it happens, right? You got to fix that. You have to have the corrective actions in place. So I think that kind of sets us apart to do the long-winded answer of your question, owned and operated by firefighters, and try and give as true valued experience that you're going to get when you get hired on. And yeah, I think that sets us apart. And our instructors, I mean, you can comment on this, but I think we have the best instructors in the world, just like-minded firefighters who care about the community. They care about the job. They're passionate. They want to just fill our students' heads full of amazing knowledge and experience. And I couldn't be happier with the people that I get to work with, the guys I get to learn with. Like, it's just such an amazing family. And yeah, that sets us apart, I think.
Yeah. And it's true. Like you said, like, I found most of the instructors would say, all right, here's what you need to know for the test or the book. Here's what you're going to do in real life. And
And what we
you
expect
don't
you
get
to,
that.
yeah.
Right, right, right. You don't get that at a traditional fire school where they're just teaching the book because that's it. But that's not it. A lot of the, like when we're doing training for on Tuesday nights at our fire hall, they're like, all right, remember what you read in the textbook? Forget it. We don't do that because it doesn't make
Right.
any sense in
Yeah.
real practical terms. If you
Right.
need to save somebody from a second story window, you're not setting your ladder up at 75 degrees. Like they're
Yeah.
like, nah, it doesn't
Go.
make sense. You're going to kill yourself, especially if that person is over 200 pounds, which is most people these days. So it's like,
Absolutely.
here's how we're going to do it. So yeah, I,
Absolutely.
I was impressed with the honest truth about what it's going to be like. And that's kind of in my eyes what set you guys apart from the other options that were out there when I was making that decision. So
Well, awesome. It's great to
yeah.
hear.
So you mentioned as well that your school, it's not designed to create great firefighters, but I would like to know, in your opinion, what separates a good firefighter from a great one?
Ooh, having the care, I think, like just having the care and the reason why you're doing that job. Because you have some good firefighters that can accomplish the task, but are they going to put the extra effort in when it comes time to? I don't know. Like, I think that's what kind of separates and differentiates the great firefighters from the good ones. It's having the mentality and just really being born to do the job, right? Like you have the people who it's in your blood to do the job, and you're going to do everything you can at every call you go to, especially the high risk ones, the fires, the extrications, the ones where it gets dangerous for us, where we have to put ourselves aside and, having the, what's the word I want to, whatever, the wherewithal to recognize that they come first, and I've signed up for a job where maybe I don't go home. Like I have to go in, I have to do everything I can to help the people that are in need. I think that's kind of what differentiates just having that aggressive mentality and wanting to do 100% of what they're capable of doing.
So not something that can be taught, but how, is that something that can be practiced?
It's a good question. I want to say yes. I think there are exceptions where it's possible. I don't think it's very common.
Okay.
I think you either have it or you don't. I think there are exceptions where, with enough mentoring, being around the right group can certainly change that. But at the end of the day, most of the time, people don't change who they are, but they can. I've seen it. It's just a very rare thing.
How soon, this is obviously not these, a lot of these questions aren't scripted. They
No,
come
no, no. It's all,
from our conversation. How soon after meeting a boot camp can you tell if somebody has that care and passion?
I think having a 5 minute conversation tells me a whole lot about a person. And hey, I'm not the guy to judge and get
Yeah.
to pick who's great and who's not. I mean, but I honestly think within 5 minutes, the people that are in it for the right reasons and the people that want to work 24-hour shifts so that they only have to work 7 days a month. And don't get me wrong, it's a great benefit, it's a great bonus. I love my schedule, but like, is that the only reason you're here?
Mm,
It's the only reason you're here because we have great benefits and it's a good paying job and you get to sit on a lazy boy chair and watch TV. Like, there's a lot of crews that's what they do, and a lot of that attracts a lot of people into this job, which sucks. So yeah, it's pretty quick, I think, to tell who's real and who's not.
I will say that that is the least attractive part of the job in my eyes is the lazy
Right.
boy.
Yeah.
That will be the thing that drives me crazy is if I get on a crew and they're like, "Hey, movie night." And I'm like, "Fuck. Can we just go out and throw some ladders on the wall for
And
what?"
don't
Like,
get me wrong, like there's a place for the lazy boy. And once you get into the career for enough years, because there is a time and a place for that. There are good benefits to having those movie nights. Like, and from someone who's experienced the burnout, I just don't get me wrong. There's times where we chill at work, and usually Sundays we take it a little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
more easy. We just have what we call family time, and it's just having, you know, um, philosophical conversations or just chilling out and allowing your fuel tank to get full again or whatever, right? So, but yeah, as a new person, you're not going to want that for for a
No.
while. But there is a place for that, I will say. Like, and I've learned that you can't be go 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 100% of the time. Like chilling out sometimes at work is really, really important, especially if you come off a string of bad calls
Right. Oh yeah, yeah.
or personal stuff. Like,
Yep.
the cat, again, my captain, Sean Price, great podcast on multiple calls. He's really good at reading our crew. And if somebody's off, he knows and he'll inquire about it. And he's like, you know what, we were planning on doing this today. We're not doing that now. We're gonna, he reads the room,
That's
and that's
awesome.
a really important thing to do as a leader. And he's such a
Hmm.
good leader.
When I got home from school, so I did EMT school from like last May until October. I had 1 week off and then started fire school. So when I get home after school, I was walking around the house and Joanna, my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I have no idea. I don't know what to do right now." She goes, "You could try sitting, like just sit." And I'm like, I don't think that's for me.
Not good
So
for the body. You seize
yeah, I
up
don't
when you
know.
sit.
So it was weird. It was weird coming home and just like, what am I going to do now? I'm not in a
Oh,
textbook because it's been almost a full year of just like, and those textbooks are thick. They're like
you gotta have
1,600
projects.
pages
You have
each.
to, yeah, you have to have
Yeah.
something to do, and like you kind of mentioned, like it's not our school isn't about producing great firefighters. That's only due to proximity, like the timelines that we have, right? Like we just can't show everyone everything, but you can have. It's about creating the mentality, which again, I think that's what creates good firefighters. And having something to do and being antsy and walking around, that's part of it. That's part of the I gotta get something done, right? You gotta be
Yeah.
productive.
The next day I signed up for it was called a emotional first aid course. So I
Yeah.
already did that. That's already done. So it's like,
Nice.
how else can I pad the resume so that when the job offers come up, then I have something to show for it. So,
Absolutely. And taking
and
that into your career, right? A lot of
yeah.
people will do that. They get hired on and then just the learning stops. And a lot of departments won't offer you anything for a while or ever. There's too many people.
Hmm.
It's not cost effective, whatever the reason is. So just trying to incorporate continuous learning into your career is really important. And,
Yep.
I know guys like you are going to do that. It's good for self growth and it'll just make you better at the job, any industry that you're in.
We have the FDIC Atlantic conference coming up in
Oh, nice.
June, and I went last year. The department covered it. We had two volunteers that they had spots for. They could go, and they give priority to people that haven't been yet. So this year, I threw my name in again. I'm like, if by off chance nobody puts their name in, I'd love to go again because it's such a great experience.
Oh,
And
it's yeah, you went on
I
your
went
own,
last
like
year. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it was amazing. Like we had it was like a live fire. They had a house donated to them. So they
Oh,
filled it
wow.
with smoke and shit. And we went in, flowed water. Like
Oh,
it was
amazing.
amazing. We got to use the ticks. We did some VEIS up on the second story. Like it was a really well done scenario. And those same guys are back again for this year. I'm like, dude, I
Nice.
want to just get more reps in with
Are
those.
they some of the American guys, or are they the
They're
guys
actually
from
from one guy's from
Rob
Oshawa.
Wiggins? I think yeah.
Matt Bacca, he was
Oh,
one of
back
them.
there. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Rob Wiggins was out.
Uh,
He's on Barry. He's
yep. Mike Langford was one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, stellar guys. So even if I don't get picked, I'm like, screw it. I'm spending my own money and I'm going to it. So no matter what, it's just too valuable not to go.
It's so good to go to those things because you do sometimes in the fire service, you kind of get into a rut where you end up, not having the motivation and drive to do as much training as maybe you should be or whatever. And so every once, like I used to go down to the US quite often for different conferences and stuff. And even if you can, I get it costs money and everything, but even if for every few years you can get down there and just listen to these phenomenal firefighters talk about the job and their perspective and the mentality is just it just brings you up and just gets you so excited about the job and lights that spark back up. And it's such a great, yeah, those conferences are absolutely amazing.
Very cool.
Good for you for going to them.
Again, I have the passion, like the hunger is there. So it's like, give me more. I want to do it. We had the muscular dystrophy boot drive on the weekend. But we also had a level 1, going through their training. I was like, should I go in the morning and help them out and then go boot drive? I was like, nah, just chill out with my family for like 2 hours and then go stand in front of the grocery store with a boot. So
yeah, absolutely.
It was all good. Jesse, this has been a great conversation, and I love asking my guests the same question at the end. And I'd love to hear what your definition of resiliency is in your own words.
So for me, I thought about it because I was wondering if you're going to ask. It's the mind's ability to continue to push through when things get tough. And that can be for anything, right? That could be for the job, that could be your marriage, it can be exercise, it can be the hard challenges you want to create in life, whatever. Like, you just got to push through.
How does somebody get there? Like, that's a mindset. How does somebody develop that mindset to be able to do that?
I think you have to know what resilience is for you, and you have to know what your goals are and what it is that you want to be better at, dealing with hard things or whatever. And I think it's time and patience and consistency and always trying to improve all of those things: nutrition, exercise, yoga, breathing, whatever it is, all of those things. The more you turn those into a lifestyle practice, the easier the resilience becomes. And I've heard you talk about it on your podcast, like, do things you're uncomfortable with, right? That's not a new thing. Like, a lot of people are talking about that now. And I couldn't agree with it more. Do things that make you uncomfortable. Step out of your comfort zone, do hard things, and then those things that used to be hard are no longer hard, or they're much easier.
This is a bonus question here. If your son listens to this episode 20 years from now, what's one thing you'd want him to hear you say?
Just be tough. I don't know. That's my one rule with him. It's like, you can be whatever you want. You can do whatever you want to do. You got to be tough. It's not an option not to be. So and I don't think that's going to be an issue. And I'm not going to be some hard ass, strict dictator kind of father. But I think naturally he'll want to, because then life just becomes easier, right? Like, the people he will take care of, his family, his kids.
Yeah.
It'll be easier to navigate those hard times. So it's just really more about trying to set him up for success.
True.
To take care of the people he's going to need to take care of.
Let him skin his knees and learn from it.
Absolutely.
Right?
You gotta let
bubble
kids,
parenting.
No, you gotta let them play dangerously. Jordan Peterson talks about it all the time, and it's so important. So
true.
Yeah.
Yes, great conversation today. Awesome to have you on. We're over the hour mark, so that's a good stretch. It's awesome. Anything else you want our listeners to know before we sign off today?
Nope, just all this wouldn't be possible without such a supportive wife and family and good people. And I just want to thank all the people in my life that give me the ability to do what I do. And thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun, great conversation. You were a phenomenal student. You were the captain that makes or breaks a boot camp, and your boot camp was so incredible. And watching your leadership style was absolutely incredible. I learned tons from you. So thanks for doing what you do, and this podcast is amazing.
Awesome, man. Thanks a lot. I'll be sure to share your socials in the show notes if you're up for it, so people can follow you. People can follow the school. You guys put out a lot of great info and a lot of good content there too. So, appreciate all you do. Thanks for coming on.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me. Take care, buddy.
No problem.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest episodes, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.